Hello and welcome to the BRONCO Business Podcast. Today we're joined by Cortney Campbell, a lecturer here in the College of Business and Economics and one of the driving forces behind Boise State's Plus Business program. Cortney's background spans entrepreneurship, hospitality, leadership, and marketing, and she brings that real-world experience into helping non-business majors build practical business skills through the Plus Business minor and certificate program. This is an extra special episode for the podcast, as ironically, it's not just for business majors, it's for every major here at Boise State. We're talking about her journey, the value of business literacy in any career, and how Plus Business is opening doors for students across campus. Cortney, welcome to the podcast. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe, for having me.
Oh, it was a blast having you on the Plus Business video to just kind of talk about the program and get the word out there. And just what I enjoyed so much about that, and then the one we created that was very similar. Did you see the Kessler one?
No, I haven't.
I'll send that to you.
Okay,
we basically did the same thing, but with a student. So two different audiences, and it really boiled it down to like, in a minute, we can explain what Plus Business is and the impact it has and why you should do it.
Yes, yeah, and it came together so quickly. I was blown away by your technical skill with the videos and with the audio and the way that you really made me look good. And you shot it in like a half hour. It was crazy.
I tell people all the time, and maybe it's self-deprecating, but I just press buttons.
Oh, I highly doubt that.
I've gotten really efficient at pressing buttons, but at the end of the day, that's really what it is. So I perused your LinkedIn. You got a lot of different directions in your career, and I can relate a bit behind on that spectrum, but like I see myself going kind of on the same trajectory. But throughout all of the changes and like everything in your career, education, professionally, business has been at the center of it, it seems. And like I said, I've had a seriously hard time committing myself to like one thing or like, this is the direction I'm on. I don't think that's a reality anymore. People working the same job for 10, 15, 20 years, like my parents might have. But like this resonates with me, like always learning, always keeping something fundamentally at the center. For you, it's business. For me, it's a camera. As long as like I have a camera at the center of everything I'm doing and like influencing the creativity I have, I'm a happy camper. So Talk about your journey. What started it? How did you end up at Boise State, and what do you currently teach?
Okay, great. Thanks for asking. So I started here at Boise State in 1997 and was an on-campus student, had no idea what I wanted to do. Changed majors 50 times. Was told by several advisors, well, you should study business. You can never go wrong with a business degree. And when I thought of that, I just thought of, a frumpy office job and being chained to a desk. And I thought, okay, that is not for me. I want to create. I want to travel. I want to do things. I want to work with people. Definitely don't want to do business. So I left college and ironically started my own business so I could do those things, so that I could create and I could travel and I could grow. So I started with actually a kiosk at the Boise Town Square Mall and grew that over 25 years into a really sizable business where I imported products. Thank you. And I marketed products and I traveled to trade shows. I sold them in all 50 states, traveled 11 months of the year, traveled to Canada and China. And it's so interesting to come back to study business after having been in business, because there's so many lessons I really could have used along the way that would have saved me some heartache. I like to tell people, I learned business on the streets, right?
Yeah.
And it's true. So I started, it was just myself. I grew the company. I later, coming back to Boise State, realized it's called backward integration. So
I had never heard of that. I'm writing that down because I can relate to that as well.
So I had a business and I bought products from other people, and then I sold those products retail. And then I thought perhaps I could grow my business, or at least my margins, which at the time I didn't know were called margins. I could grow
all that terminology. You're like, I'm doing the thing, but like maybe I'm calling it the wrong stuff.
Right. I don't know what it's called, but I'm definitely doing it.
Yeah.
So I went back and I started manufacturing my own products. Well, then the disconnect was I don't like the fact that by the time I'm getting the product and the packaging, the sign doesn't match, right? So I was having other people do those things for me. So I went back and I took some classes and I got a associate's degree in digital media, right? Mm-hmm. So just enough to be dangerous. So now I could make my own websites and I could make my own packaging and so everything matched. So I did that, grew the business. Super fun in my 20s, kind of fun in my 30s. In my 40s, sleeping in a motel bed 11 months of the year was not as fun.
Constant trade shows.
Right.
Is this the infinity lights?
Yeah, yes. So,
Okay.
so I made probably 25
Did
different
you invent
products.
that?
I did. I'd like to say I
The
reinvented
inventor
it.
of
Right. So
infinity lights.
the first ones were done in the 70s in, I think it was Switzerland, and they were made out of paper. So we decided, what if we made them out of a heat-resistant vinyl in a multitude of different colors and let people create their own? So that was a big hit. I had a few other big hits. I did a couple of infomercials. I was on QVC. I had a great time, and I could always change, and it gave me that variety and creation. But my advisors were right. It was all based on an understanding of business, right? And I think you'd be hard-pressed to find anything that is not a business. I don't know where you would possibly go and work
Yeah.
that isn't a business.
I'm not ready to segue there yet, but that segues
Okay,
perfectly
of course,
into
of course.
plus business. It's just such a fascinating topic to me. You're talking about backwards integration. I graduated from here in 2015 with a communication and not broadcasting, media production degree with an emphasis on basically video broadcasting work, I guess. Learned a lot about video, and then went to work for North by Northwest. They're still a local production company doing commercial production. Back in the day, they were doing like Albertsons, Primary Health, Idaho Lottery. And so I worked on set freelance for them for a while. And this is going to sound funny, given my job. Not the biggest fan of video.
Really?
I love photography. I took all the knowledge I learned from video and just said, I want something that has a more immediate return on investment that I enjoy doing independently. Because I even started not a business major either, but I think anyone who gets into any sort of camera work tries to make some sort of business out of it. And so I started like a little production company working for small nonprofits here in town. And basically taught myself the whole like photography business side of everything.
On the streets.
Right. And then I still didn't get any business acumen. I still don't. I've learned that still on the streets.
You have tremendous business
and I'm
acumen.
learning more the more I'm here.
Yeah.
But with that, like probably 4 or 5 years ago, I went to the Defense Information School. So the Department of Defense, they train all of their why am I blanking on this?
Contractors?
Photojournalists.
Oh, photojournalists. Okay.
Just journalists in general, military journalists, all go to the same school in Baltimore.
Wow.
And so that was the first time that I had like formal photography training.
Yeah.
And someone was being like, okay, this is the way you've learned and you've applied it, but like, here's a different approach. Here's how to approach it journalistically. And so like that backwards integration, like I just took it and ran with it. And now I'm learning some of the more refined things, or learning kind of the language of it.
Yes.
That when I talk to people who had that formal education before, we're like, where did this guy get educated?
Yes.
Did
Yes.
he in photography? And the answer is no up until that point. I can really relate to that. You've had roles as an entrepreneur as well as event planning, hospitality sales, product development, all before coming back to academia to teach a lot of it through your Infinity Light. So like back to that.
Yes.
Started as a kiosk. What did it end as?
So, okay, right? So started
not
as
a
a
kiosk.
It was Christmas time. Christmas was over. I had leftover stock. I was kind of, taking a break from school. And so ended up with all this leftover stock and thought, I had to go to an event. Maybe I discount the price. Maybe I blow it out. So I went to an event. It was incredibly successful. And I thought maybe I could replicate this with more products. So then I was bringing in my own products, and then got to the point where I wasn't happy with the packaging, or I couldn't take the product in the direction that I wanted to. Then, came the explosion of the internet and Amazon, and I thought I have to be able to own my product, every representation of that item, because customers were getting to the point where they'd be having a conversation with you instead of listening about your product. They're looking online to see where they can get it cheaper.
The second, yeah.
Yes.
I'm guilty of that. You go into a store and you see something and you're like, there's something cheaper on Amazon. Hold on.
Yeah.
Start looking for it.
Yep. So I
Yeah.
wanted to be able to control it all. I wanted to be able to build my own websites, create my own packaging, handle my own manufacture, do the marketing. So in the end, when I quit, it was the pandemic, and I had really been wanting to do something different. And my biggest, I wouldn't say regret, but something I always wanted was I wished I would have completed my education. Because when you are in those lessons, when you get a patent infringement, cease and desist, when you get, and I've had several, I had one from Stella McCartney, right? Paul McCartney's daughter, the designer.
Oh, boy.
That was, right, it was crazy.
Did you frame it? That's kind of cool.
No, it's hilarious you'd say that. So I ended up saying, okay, like I created a line of makeup. It was called Stella Paris, and her attorneys made the case that because her flagship store was in Paris and her name was Stella, that there could be cause for confusion. So after that, I went and took a class on intellectual property because I had no idea what it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now again, would have benefited from that in the beginning. Anywho, I forgot what we were talking about. I'm having too much fun.
Good.
Yeah. So the introduction to business. So where it ended. So when the pandemic came, I just thought, this is my chance. At that time, I think I had 40 employees. I had, trucks and trailers on the road everywhere. I had a warehouse full of stock, and I just thought, because those employees become very important to you, and that they love their job, even though maybe you don't so much love it anymore. There were opportunities for them to move on, and then the way that the economy was, people were paying much more. So I'm very thankful that all those folks that worked with me were able to go on to better opportunities.
Yeah.
I thought, I'm going to go back to school, just fulfill my dream. So I came back to the OBBA program, which is the online Bachelor of Business Administration here at BoiseState, and I loved it. And, like you said, talking about filling in the gaps, or this is a different way that you can look at things. I was like, I would eventually like to write a short book called From the Boardwalk to the Boardroom and the Lessons in Between, right?
Yeah.
So yes.
You got to copyright that. You just said that.
Thank you.
You
Good.
just said that
Good.
live.
Please. Well, don't worry. I already bought the website.
Oh,
And
yes.
allsalesfinal.com, right? That would make it good. And
That's
what
right.
a great reality show, right? To show kind of what I did. So at the end there, had all these employees. We were doing all these big trade shows, the Philadelphia Flower Show, the New York Auto Show, the Minnesota State Fair, just massive events.
Yeah.
Moving tons of product at one time. And I wasn't happy. So I came back, went through the BBA program, thought, okay, I guess it's time to get an office job. At least I'll have that work-life balance I can want. And I enjoyed school more than I ever thought I would.
Yeah.
What's really unique kind of about that program, not talking about Plus Business, I'm sorry, but OBBA for returning students, like if you're coming back to school, hit me up about that program. It's amazing, right? Truly changed my life.
Yeah.
Met a professor in that program. Decided later, this is really fun. Like, I want to get my MBA. I want to study marketing. So I did that and thought, maybe I could teach at a junior college. And I was doing that and loving it. Had no idea how to teach. Figured, well, I guess I'll take a class on that too.
Yeah.
Ran into one of my professors from the program at the Shakespeare Festival, of all places. And she said, you ought to apply to adjunct here at Boise State. Got in doing that. A position became available. Now I get to teach in a part of the college that I loved so much as a student, right? And I'm still growing. And I learn so much from my students all the time.
Yeah.
It's the engagement and what you learn and the sharing and what happens in those discussion forums. It's amazing.
If you're in higher education, and I'm talking about non-students, and you're not constantly learning something, you're not paying attention. Like, you can't help but learn. The different programs going on, different student presentations. I was at an entrepreneur challenge last week where students were talking about these businesses they'd built. And that's amazing to watch students graduate from here, from their undergrad, some of them their graduate programs, with a business idea, like a model. Like, they're not leaving here wondering, how am I going to apply this? Like, they're being shown how to.
They're being shown how.
And this, I think, is neither here nor there. What I was telling students when I was talking to them about their different ideas, you're not given a lot of opportunity. Well, once you leave here, failing can hurt. With things like the Entrepreneur Challenge, you're given a free license to fail.
Yes.
You try. You put everything you can into something, and at the end of the day, you're still in school. You're still going to get a degree, but you've seen how things fall apart in this business-making process so that by the time you graduate, hopefully, you don't have to do what so many people in I've got friends who have started businesses, and the first one didn't go so well because that was the learning business.
Yes.
They don't have to do that here.
No,
You can get that failure out of if it is a failure, you can get that out of the way now. And that's incredibly liberating.
I think that's a really important thing that we focus on in COBE is teaching students resilience and teaching them that it is in the failures that we learn our greatest lessons. And I had so many, just too numerous to even name, but it makes that success all the more exciting.
Yeah.
And I think COBE equips you not just with the tools that you need to be able to see and forecast and plan and lay out your business, but it also gives you a network. You network with other students in the program, you make connections, you network with the community. COBE is really involved with making an impact not just in the Boise area, but in Idaho. I live in Twin Falls, and the impact, I like to say Boise State is not just Boise's university, it's Idaho's university. And arguably the nation's. And we have a lot of international students, and I think that lends to the learning because we're able to see what is happening all over the world and what different businesses are doing. And we live in such a crazy, exciting time. I mean, I can't imagine what it's like for you with AI in your work.
Amazing.
Right?
A little frustrating at times because I find a tool that came out that could have saved me, no kidding, months of my life.
Yes.
Breaking down some process that used to take forever, and now it doesn't.
Yes, and I think that's going to be, I've had some students express to me that they are nervous to go out into the workforce. Yes.
I get that.
I tell them their business degree and the fundamental things that they are studying here at COBE are never going to change. The tools that you use to execute those may change, but the fundamentals of business have always been the same and will always remain the same.
I have a question at the end about that.
I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay. That's totally okay. I'm just like thinking ahead, and I'm just like, yes,
I get so excited to talk to you.
Yeah, and like I said, we probably will touch on most of this. That's why I don't like go through each question like one at a time.
I think we get along so well, Joe, because we're kind of both creation junkies a little bit, maybe.
Honestly, I love this. It's just an excuse to sit down and talk and hopefully benefit people in the process and not just talk. Like I think the things faculty and staff are working on here at Boise State are huge. And like going back to the whole reason we started the podcast, not every student is aware of what's going on here, either within COBE and definitely with outside of the College of Business and Economics. But also, there's a lot of students that aren't comfortable raising their hand in class. They're not going to take advantage of office hours. And so they'll just like scoot their whole way through and not really know what to ask their advisor. And if we can create a platform where we can reach them in a different way, in a more passive way, where they can just turn it on while they're at the gym or studying and be like, oh, I had no idea this is a direction I could take my career. Like this sounds like exactly what I want to do. Yeah. Like I think we can transition into Plus Business, but I like to think that had I known Plus Business was around, maybe I would have been smart enough to take it because like you, I didn't get any of that business acumen. I did get my degree, but it didn't really come with any of that. Like I've had this conversation with several people when it comes to communication, specifically my degree of like creating things. Like I know how to use all the tools in this room. That's just kind of what I've built my career on, is learning more and more creative things. And learning how to use the hardware and the software. And I don't have the business side of it. The funniest thing about that to me is the marketing degree belongs to the College of Business and Economics. And so you have people who understand how to market their business.
Yes.
But they don't know how to create any of the things that market their business. Like that's not taught.
Yeah.
Like basically someone like me and someone with a marketing degree have to join forces so they can be like, this is how we're going to grow the business. And this is how we're going to ROI all the business lingo.
Right.
You're the person who knows how to do who knows how to create all the content that's going to make that stuff happen.
Yes.
So like I've got the direction, or you've got the direction. I've got the, like I'm the maker, you're the thinker, the doer, the pusher. And so it's interesting that those aren't the same thing. And so I'd like to think that had Plus Business been available when I was here, I would have tacked that on because I've had to learn over time, especially in my position. You don't always work, especially if you're working for smaller businesses, that they're looking to hire someone that knows how to do that side of things because they don't.
Right.
And they don't realize that most creatives, especially right out of college or that don't have a ton of experience, don't know how to do both. They weren't trained to do both.
No.
And so they're like, okay, we need you to not only create content, but know how to grow the business with it. And I'm just like,
yes.
I know how to create.
Yes.
So I guess I'm going to figure out the other stuff on top of that.
Yes, and probably you are creating that value for that business. You just don't know how to communicate
Right.
it. And our students have to be advocates in their career. They have to be able to sit down with supervisors and owners and say, this is the value that I bring. And in terms of our business, in terms on my return of investment and what I'm bringing to the table, I think it's this. And being able to have those conversations with leaders, I think is so awesome and a great part of the Plus Business program.
Yeah.
Even when you think of our amazing athletes that come out of Boise State, they need to have fundamental business experience so that they can negotiate contracts, so that they can be able to put a price tag on their value and be able to claim that value. Because really that's what we're trying to teach students to do is understand how the larger organization operates, even if it's a nonprofit or let's say they work for the government, and be able to speak to what your value is within that.
Yeah. And you've already said this, but everything's a business.
Yes.
Like every skill you learn, whether you're a nursing student, psychology student, engineering student, like whatever that skill is you learn, you're only going to be better off if you understand how that fits into the organization. And you're only really going to understand that by understanding the business side of things.
100%.
And like that, like there's some grim ways to think about it. Like I think it's ultimately a good thing, but I think it also sets you up for when your business is impacted financially. Like, is your job at risk?
Yes.
Do you have a surplus? Are there directions you can take the business and people you can add to the team? How can you use the business elements of this organization you're a part of to succeed? And you can learn how to do that regardless of what your specialty is within the business.
Absolutely. And being able to recognize those opportunities. Because AI is an incredible tool.
Yeah.
If we don't understand how the board of directors is set up or, what is going on with the IPO, we can put that into AI. It'll tell us. But it won't, in the moment, in our careers, help us find opportunities. Like that is up to our own brains to do that.
Right.
So, super fun. So, I don't know if I can do this, but I'm going to anyway, and you can always edit it out.
Go for it.
I would challenge all of our Boise State students that if you can think of a major that you are in that would not benefit from a plus business, either a certificate or the minor, shoot me an email. We'll have a conversation about it. And if you win, I'll treat you to a meal. So, yes.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to have any takers.
I don't think I'm going to have any takers either.
Some people might try to take a bit advantage of the free meal.
But hey, I love engaging with the students, so whatever it takes, right?
Like we got nursing students that are...
Yes.
They're like, I want to know how to take care of the patient, but if I understand... and a lot of where people see business acumen come into play is when their career shifts, when they move from being an entry-level employee to maybe middle management or above that. Like... that's when those tools really come into play. How do I make a change in my career?
Absolutely. Or let's say you're studying English literature or you want to be a writer. You need to have an understanding of how publishing works. How do those publishing houses make money? What are your opportunities to self-publish?
I'm really curious. Just given your experience, like I wanna talk about Plus Business, but I want to talk about Cortney Campbell as well. You've been in and out of school for most of your adult life. Like you did it and then you went and did the thing and then you found a reason to come back and get more education. And it's been this like yo-yo effect of like, all right, I want to grow in this way. How am I going to do that? I'm going to go back to education, get what I need.
I had a ridiculous amount. So when I went back to school after the pandemic, I had a ridiculous amount of credits. I think it was like 160 credits, 170 credits. I don't know. How many do you need for a bachelor's?
I think it's 140, 130.
Okay. I had more than that then. I had close to 200.
Or maybe
but they were so...
120? I don't remember.
They were so... there was no degree. I didn't even have an associate's degree.
Yeah.
I would figure out, I need this for my work. I'm going to go learn how to do this. And then I'd take a class. And so coming back, I still am the same way. I still look at our offering at Boise State and I'm like, oh, I'd like to learn about this. I want to study this. I'm working on my PhD right now in instructional design and leadership for our online students so that I can help better convey what's going to changes in business and how can I keep things up to date and accurate for the students. And I love it. But yes, at the end of the day, I can't look at one thing that I have studied or learned about or used in my career that didn't have some tie to business.
I think there's a lot of trepidation about change or being malleable or flexible when it comes to your career. I remember I've always been this way, but it was my third school. I went to NNU briefly, but I remember talking to my dad, being like, Dad, I don't know what to do. He's like, you can do a lot of things, but you got to focus up for just a few years to get that degree and then start adding to it. Start adding things that you're interested in.
Yes.
But I think there's a lot of fear there and a lot of, maybe not fear, but definitely encouragement of you to go that route. Like pick a thing, do a thing. And you haven't done that. And I reject that kind of thing. I don't do that. Like it's never too late to learn something new, to pivot, to apply your skills to a different area of interest.
Yes.
That's scary to some people. Change, risk. Was that ever scary for you? Or have you had the sense of excitement and just like with every endeavor, you're just like, there's been challenge, but has it been like, I don't know, I think a lot of hesitation, I guess.
No, it took so much to build my business to the point where it was that it was incredibly hard to walk away from. And it took me, after the pandemic, it took me about a year to get, all the product cleaned out, everything done. And at that time I was working alone, teaching adjunctly. And it took a long time, and I was scared. And there were moments where I really thought, "Oh, am I doing the right thing?
Yeah.
Is this going to turn out okay? Am I going to be okay?" But I always went back to what makes me happy, and it was teaching, right? It was working with the students. It was being able to be a part of Boise State. And if I had any career advice for somebody, it would be really look at that. Does your position bring you joy? Does it allow you the opportunity to have work-life balance? If it doesn't, come back, retool your skills a little bit, and get back out there. And it may be something that maybe you've worked in an industry for a very long time and you know how to do the thing, but you don't necessarily have the paper to prove you know how to do the thing. Come back, because the value that you don't see is all of the increased opportunities that you'll be able to recognize as a result of your continued studies here. It's crazy.
Absolutely.
Yes, and it's also like these doors opening. So one of the classes I get to teach, in Plus Business, I teach the capstone course. And that's where students bring together everything they've learned, whether it's in the minor, the certificate, or their other studies, and they're able to bring it all together and really make a business level strategy project that they can show to a potential employer. Awesome stuff.
Yeah.
And then I also teach in the capstone course for the OBBA, the one I went through. I love hearing about student success stories. It brings tears to my eyes when they will send me an email saying, I'm so thankful when we studied this in the class, or guess what, I was able to get a promotion, or I'm so glad I did X, Y, or Z, and here's where I'm at now. I write a ton of recommendation letters, at least 3 to 5 a week, and it is the highlight of my week. Right?
Yeah.
Being able to know that those students are taking what they have learned, combined with innate skills that they have, other things that they've studied, and able to drive forward and succeed. I mean, that's what this is all about.
Yeah. Do you ever have students like come back to you and they're considering a career change or something, and they're like, I know someone who's done that, who I can talk to, who can be a guide for that?
I do. It gives me goosebumps,
I love
actually. I do too.
Yeah.
It's so rewarding when I see students connecting the dots. And I get to have those moments with students. And I feel like I've been a ton of different students. I've been the student on campus who didn't know what I wanted to do. I've been the student who dropped out. I've been the student who came back patchy, in and out. I've been the student who went fully online and now is going the distance to a terminal degree. And so to be able to connect with them where they're at, and it's always the same, I feel like. There's always one moment during the semester where life, your job, something will get in the way that would cause you to stop. And my mentor here at Boise State, the professor I told you about, taught me such a great life lesson, and that's give yourself grace, right? Right? You are not always.
The amount of times I've been told that in my life,
Yes.
because I feel like I'm a lot like you in that way. It's just like constantly holding myself to a standard of like, I don't know if I'm capable of doing that, or I didn't do that good enough, like ever. I'm told that probably a couple times every year.
And we need to let that go. I just had a Plus Business student who's going through the capstone in Plus Business. We had a discussion last week, and he said, I'm having a hard time getting through these last few weeks. Things are coming up. I don't feel like I'm turning in my best work. And I hope I don't get in trouble for saying this. But I said, you don't have to turn in your best work. You're not always going to bring your A game. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you're going to bring your B game or C game, or maybe even less.
Yeah.
But just keep showing up.
Yeah.
And if things do happen and you get off track, just get up, brush yourself off, and start back at it, because that's what our careers take. Mm-hmm. That's what business takes.
Yeah, and that's the real world. I mean, not every business operates like this, but everybody hopes to come bring in their A game. Yeah. Life's hard, and sometimes you can't.
No. Yeah. And business is hard. Yeah. We don't always bring our A game. Not for our customers, not for our suppliers, not for our employees, not for our stakeholders.
And sometimes you do and it doesn't work out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, grace.
Yes, grace. 100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Those are the learning moments.
Yeah. For listeners who might not be familiar, could you explain just kind of the nuts and bolts of Plus Business, the minor and certificate, what they are, who the program's designed for, what the goals are?
I would love to.
That kind of thing.
So Plus Business is for non-business majors. Maybe you're studying sports medicine or literature, or whatever major it is you have on this campus. If you think to yourself, maybe healthcare, I would benefit from a fundamental understanding of how businesses are run so that I can better identify my place in that organization. Plus Business is for you. So we have a certificate, and anybody can get that. Mm-hmm. They don't need to be a current student. They could be a past student. They can enroll just to get the certificate.
Yeah.
But if you're currently studying at Boise State, you can add the minor and tack that along with your degree. So all of the classes in the program, there's 6 of them, they're all fully online. And most of them have no synchronous meetings, so meetings that you have to be there for. Most of them are asynchronous, so you can kind of complete it on your own time. It won't hold you back with your degree. It is awesome. Yeah. I love it. And why I love teaching the courses is the student variety and the diversity of the different majors brings so much excitement to the discussions. Cross-collaboration, and that is so important right now in the world that we are living in, with the technological advances, with AI, being able to interact with my students and watch them interact with each other and really connect concepts that weren't laid out for them, that are just discoveries that are being made in the courses as a result of the diversity that they're bringing to the class. It's amazing.
Yeah. I think about that in the context of grad school, specifically with people who, I think it's our career track MBA. Or whichever one brings people who have been in the workplace for a while back. Like they have some experience, and now you're combining all those different experiences in one place for your MBA.
Yes.
You get that experience in Plus Business because of all of the different schools of thought and disciplines coming into Plus Business from around campus.
Yes, 100%. And we have so many students so the classes are 7 weeks. They're compressed classes. Mm-hmm. We have so many students that will say to me at the end of the 7 weeks in that capstone course, they'll say, I'm just getting ready to graduate, and I was going to just go this route. But as a result of what I've learned in Plus Business, I now know that I'm better off to do this and this and this. And perhaps that involves not just starting their own venture, but also, pursuing other avenues. So to be able to see students take what they've gained in their other disciplines and apply that to business before they either expand or begin to grow their career, it's really overwhelming. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Because we want students to get the most of it, right? They've worked their butts off here, and they've paid for it, and I want them to be able to claim every value with their skill set that they possibly can. That's what Plus Business helps with.
And the emphasis outside of just what you get from Plus Business that I like to talk about or think about in the context of, like when I said I wish I would have done it, or I'd like to think I would have, I don't know if it was around in 2015, in the context of like it being easy to take. because sometimes like it is one more thing.
Yes.
Like nobody wants to. No one really wants to be asked to do one more thing.
No, they don't.
And that's not really what we're doing here, is asking people to do one more thing. We're essentially saying, here's this thing you can take advantage of.
Yes.
You don't have to come here to COBE. You don't even have to know where it is. You don't, like you said, it's not asynchronous.
No.
Like you can just kind of take it at your own pace. Like I like to think about it as like picking up a hobby.
Yes.
You're not on, I mean, there is a timeline, of course, it's 7 weeks, but like you're not really on anyone's timeline. Just like learn at your own pace. And then at the end of it, it won't have interfered with your time to graduate. And you'll have some business acumen to take whatever your field of study is out into the world.
100%.
Understanding the business it's applying to.
Yes. So here's what stopped me from studying business when I first went to school. I'm terrible at math. Really bad.
Yeah.
Oh boy. And when you put letters in with it, I'm over it. So I thought, it's going to be just, too many spreadsheets and adding numbers up. And I could never do that, which is crazy because then later when I got into business, when you put a dollar sign on those numbers, then they, perfectly made sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is really normal for students who are outside of COBE to think, wow, that's going to be a lot of math and a lot of calculating and a lot of... I have to tell you that while you're going to be asked to do some spreadsheets, you're going to be asked to do some calculations, it is not like you would expect.
Right.
We are looking at the foundations of business. How do businesses operate?
Right.
What is the structure of different organizations?
Right.
How do they make profits? How do they create value for customers?
Mm-hmm.
So for any student here at Boise State who says, "Oh, I think that I was never good at business in high school. I think that's going to be over my head."
Yeah.
That is not the case.
Yeah.
I have yet to have one student, regardless of discipline, come to our Plus Business program who hasn't found the bulk of it very intuitive. So don't think it's too hard. It's not.
Yeah, and as you were talking about that, I didn't think about. That's a lot of our experiences with math. Like we're given word problems intermittently throughout our education, but not a lot of it has a lot of real practical value. We don't see how is this going to apply to my life. That's why so many people don't like history.
Yes.
I love history, but I get it. Some people are like, it doesn't apply to my life right now. Why do I need to know about Napoleon? That kind of thing. So yeah, putting a dollar sign in front of it suddenly makes math feel very relevant.
100%.
And maybe less cumbersome because you understand the goal you're working towards and understanding it.
Absolutely. So when you look at things like customer return on investment, you think, well, that might not be important to me now. But if you are, I keep going back to publishing a book. If you're self-publishing a book, that's going to be highly relevant to you to know how much are you investing to get those customers. What is the return on your investment? It's going to be a question that you ask in even for nonprofits or government agencies. So very valuable, broad spectrum things you are learning. You are not going to be calculating tax income statements, which is not my forte.
Mine either. And so you're talking about kind of like the core tenets of this program.
Yes.
Next page. Talk about how each of those translates into real world value for students from diverse majors, and maybe talk about your diverse professional background and how that puts you in a position to really talk to students about this. Like you get it. You've done it.
Okay.
Like you've gone and done the thing without the business acumen, and then you came back and got that. And you understand how valuable that is.
Yes, absolutely. So please forgive me. I have my little cheat sheet here because I don't always remember the numbers. So when you take BUS BTC 301, that's the foundations of business. And that's really when you're learning just general terminology. What are the different structures of business? What might that look like? Why is that important for a student? Well, depending on, can you give me an example of career a student at Boise State might be studying? We'll use that as an example.
Nursing.
Nursing. Okay, great.
That's a popular one. Engineering.
So business foundations. So it's going to be really important for somebody in healthcare to understand different structures of a business. What is the difference between a private practice and how that might be structured like a limited liability company versus a multinational conglomerate? How are these companies funded? What do organizational structures look like? So yes, absolutely. And then understanding business value. Again, that goes back to being able to look at a business and say, how does this business make a profit? How is my job, my career in this business part of the overall structure of what drives this business forward?
Yeah.
And I think, too, we live in an age where there are going to be a lot of changes, and people in their careers are going to be able to want to look at their employers or their own businesses and say, am I on track for success? Is the way that my business structured and the way that we provide value to our customers still going to be relevant in 2 years? Or do we need to shift focus?
Yeah.
Is my career something that I need to shift focus with? Are the things that I'm learning and working on, because like we said, we're always learning and working on things.
Yeah.
Are they in alignment with what's going to be in demand in 5 years? Yeah.
There's a prompt, and I talked to Kevin and Steven when we did the AI portion of this podcast. There's a prompt I run every month through ChatGPT, and that is, and it's in a project, so it references all of our past conversations.
Right.
And that is, what part of my career is being currently made obsolete by AI tools?
Oh, I got to make a note of that. That's great.
It's huge. And I honestly think if people aren't asking themselves that, they're kind of setting themselves up for failure because it's changing faster than I think any of us want. And it's okay that that's the case. But when you take a moment to feel those things and how daunting that can feel, then I think you can take action and be like, okay, what process, like how am I currently editing video that like is being done 5 times faster by something else? Like what small thing can I take out of my workflow, hand over to something else so that I can make room for more stories to bring more value into the college business economics in the form of students or just students outside of COBE supporting our programs, that kind of thing.
Yes, 100%. And it is that engagement. So, us having this collaboration and you sitting down with me in person and you being able to connect the student experience with the faculty experience, with the experience of COBE. I don't think AI is ever going to replace that role for people.
No.
But we are going to be, I do believe more is going to be expected of us, especially in the business world.
Yeah.
So having that foundational knowledge of how a business works and then combining it with the use of those tools, I definitely think that's the way forward.
You've talked about how this like gives you goosebumps and you love every time you hear one of these success stories. Do you have a memorable story of a student in Plus Business who came from a non-business major? I think all Plus Business students come from a non-business major and found surprising value in the program or success afterwards?
Absolutely. So I had a student who came to the program who was very much like you, who had a background in photography, and they wanted to open their own business as a videographer. In that capstone course, we look at another company structure, and we take everything that we've learned in the Plus Business program and apply it to that. They were able to transition that and look into the their own business and what exactly they would want that to look like for them in the future, and they shared that document with me, and I thought that was really amazing, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what it's about. It's about application.
Right.
We should be able to look at big businesses like that, but we should also be able to look at our own careers. And entrepreneurship is not for everybody. Having been an entrepreneur, I loved my time there, but I have to tell you, I love being employed. I love being part of a larger organization. I'm still an intrapreneur, right? I still try to make changes within my department and use that entrepreneurial thinking. But it's nice to have someone else steer the ship. It's nice to have other people on the boat with you. It's nice to be part of such a large community. So I've also had that experience in Plus Business. I've had students say, I was really focused on using my degree for this, but now as a result of the Plus Business program, I've looked at some other organizations that I think I'd be a great fit for that can really offer me a lot. Yeah. And that's what we want. We want students to be able to broadly think about, we don't want to just train students with a skill set that go out there on the marching block. We want them to be able to create the life and be the architect of their dreams based on the skills they've learned at Boise State. Having foundational business experience and understanding how that works is going to make it much easier for them to find that place, whether it's in their own business or someone else's.
I think about a question I always had in my undergrad, and this is just another use case for AI that you can do now. I used to think, so 2015, I photographed Sun Valley Film Festival.
Wow.
I was like one of three. There's an army of us that did it. And that was fun. And I can't remember the guy's name, Brian something. I've got to go look it up. Probably the most memorable speaker I met there. And he wasn't involved in film the way a lot of the people up there who were talking and giving presentations were. He was an investigative journalist for Nat Geo.
Wow. How cool.
And he was talking about a documentary that just came out about him going undercover to expose the ivory trade in Africa. And like all of the people he dealt with in that, and like that whole process. Yeah. And so in my mind, as a younger person, and even examples from back when I was in high school, I would sit there and think, okay, how do I do that? And unless you talk to someone like that or know someone who's been there, and a lot of the times you don't have access to those people, you're like, how do I do that? And there's not a clear answer. But you could probably figure it out by having a conversation with AI, being like, hey, here's the people I'd love to do what they did. What did they do?
Yes.
And how can I like maybe streamline that, or how can I pair this education with that certificate and this major and that minor?
Yes, absolutely. And Boise State, just the campus, every time I come here, I feel this electric excitement because it's a melting tank of thoughts. It is just a tremendous group of individuals working together to figure out how the talents that they've been given could be honed to create value in the world. It's really, I love it.
Yeah, it's great. Let's see. I don't know. I think we talked about this at the beginning.
Okay.
And I really wanted to talk about it because you were this way and I'm this way. And when I think about business, or like when I was an undergrad and I thought about business, and even still, like recently when I have, like when I worked for Intuit, for example, I used to have these misconceptions that like marketing was just, I would just paint marketing with a broad brush of like, this is manipulative.
Yes.
This is just to get people to make a decision and to increase your profit margins.
Yes.
I thought about like, I've never enjoyed things that felt transactional.
Oh, Mr. Burns at The Simpsons, right?
Yeah, like how do I? And so every time other photographers have talked to me about monetizing what I do, all of like even still like all the red flags go up. Like I don't want to niche down into something because I feel like that impacts my creativity. I don't want to market myself in a way that just feels like I want people to come to me and ask me to do something for them based on my work and based on our relationship, not based on my social media presence, or not based on something I deliberately did in a business way.
Yes.
And so I still think, I think about business in those terms, that it's like getting in the way of something that I truly care about.
Yes.
Like, what would you say, like, to me now, undergrad me, or just other students that like see business through this lens? Like, I realize I need to make a living.
Yes.
And business is not this big, scary Mr. Burns, take advantage of people, business first, people second kind of thing.
Yes, so I would say I get it entirely. So that's, one of the reasons that I did not want to study business. So, I graduated high school listening to Nirvana, wearing flannel, wanting to make a change in the world, really interested in social reforms, and didn't want to be part of the corporate machine or a cog in the wheel. I wanted to have a voice. I wanted to do something creative and fun and be able to travel and not do irreparable damage. along the way. So, right?
That's the goal. Yeah.
Yes. So I just thought that business wasn't for me. In hindsight, looking back, it doesn't matter if you want to work for a nonprofit or maybe you were a student on campus that says, I want to make an impact. I want to make a change. I want to make some reforms. These are things I want to do in terms of sustainability or whatever that is. You are still going to benefit from a business background because eventually that organization that you work for or that grassroots that you start will need to be funded and organized in some way. And understanding how businesses do that is crucial. I didn't understand until coming back to Boise State that the real drive right now is for sustainable companies and B Corps who have serious tax advantages as a result of their ethical leadership in the space and
environmental consciousness.
Yeah, because I didn't work in that space, so I wasn't really aware of it. I think had I have known, I hope, back then that was a thing, that was available to me, I might have pursued a different route. I'm thrilled for the route that I did take. But I think everyone should have a foundational understanding of businesses, how they operate, the different structures, and what is available so that they know their options.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going out to work, there are things that you need to consider if you're going to work for a sole proprietor versus you're going to work at a corporation. And while we all contribute to our company's mission, they also contribute to our longevity and our well-being and our mental health and our happiness and our financial stability. So we owe it to ourselves to be able to look at the health of a company, to have the skill set to do that, to really understand, how do things look for us as a result of the employment that we've chosen.
Yeah. And how are you adding value?
How are you adding
because
value?
Honestly, that's how a lot of employers are thinking about you.
Right.
And so if you start thinking about yourself in that way, that's not totally negative. I think about this podcast. I think about all the content we've created for career services and the executive MBA program. And I'd like to think, and I hope what we see over time is more students engaging with that kind of thing and more attention coming to the College of Business and Economics because of those efforts. But I'm actively thinking about how not only am I doing things that feel creatively fulfilling to me, but how are those things representing the person I work for and bringing value in the form of getting students and getting people in the door. You have to think that way, and I don't think outside of business you're taught to think that way.
No.
You're taught to think in I don't think it's entirely selfish, but you're taught to think of how am I happy? Am I bringing value to myself? And that's important. But thinking about things in business terms as it applies to yourself is incredibly valuable.
Yes. And on the flip side of that, being able to understand what value that employment is bringing to you. You should be able to look at your employers, if they're publicly traded, their financial statements, and know the health of the company, because that is a company that you are a part of. And with technology changing things up in every space, I think that's going to be incredibly important for our graduates who are going out in the workforce to be able to have the fundamental business tools to look at the health of the organization they're a part of.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I want to give you the stage. Is there anything you'd like to propagate? Maybe it's more about Plus Business or the last great book or podcast you read. We could leave it at that. Just anything at all.
That's so nice of you to say. So I would have a bit of a message for students. So again, I'm a non-transitional student. It took me, 30 years to get my first degree in and out of school. Don't give up. Whatever learning you've got, I don't care if you've gotten halfway through a course and you've dropped out a million times. You are still getting value from that. Don't ever be afraid to come back. If you have something that you want to do and you are truly not happy what you're doing, we live in an era where you can recreate yourself. So if you have personal questions for me about what coming back to school might look like for you, we have incredible student success advisors. So when I had my business, this is awesome. And I was trying to find out, okay, should I go back to school? Should I take more classes at the community college? What should I do? I didn't understand the difference between an associate's degree and a bachelor's degree. And I'd spent all those time in and out of school. I didn't know the difference between a college and university. I just didn't have that vocabulary. So my student advisor, her name was Sage, and I'm traveling. I was in California, and I'm on the snowy roads with my truck and stock trailer, and I was outside of Lake Tahoe. And anyway, she's calling, and I thought, okay, I'm not going to do this. This is just not going to work. I can't sign up for these classes. I'm way too busy. But I took the time to pull over and talk to her, and she was so nice. And she said, Cortney, why don't you just start with one class? She's like, I really think this would be able to work around your schedule. Just start with one. And she was so awesome and so helpful, and she really made a difference for me. So first and foremost, know that there are student advisors here and faculty here that all are here to support you and want to see you move on. If you're a non-traditional student and you're wondering what value a bachelor's degree could bring to you maybe later in life, maybe at 40 or after, shoot me an email. I'd love to have a talk with you.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I have so much fun with you, Joe.
Yeah.
Yes. Next time I want to interview you, though.
Okay.
Is that okay?
I'm always down.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah, truly appreciate it.
I appreciate you having me. Thanks, guys.
Thanks once again for listening to the podcast. If you liked this episode, don't forget to follow, share it with a classmate, or leave a comment on whatever platform you find yourself. We'd love to hear from you. Next episode, we're going to be talking to Chad Kaufman here at the College of Business and Economics, who runs the Sandbox program. It's a relatively new program in academia. I believe it started down in Salt Lake City. He's going to give you more of the details. Essentially, students, not just business students, can form a group, come up with an idea, and launch a business that's rooted, a fully functioning business by the time they graduate. So that's pretty sweet. So stay tuned. It's going to be a really good podcast. We'd love to have you there.